Hey everybody, this is Blue. Well, I figured out how to do a spell web or spell network, and I wanted to share that with you. Um, the purpose is to connect people over great distances so that they can cast their spells as a unified force. This would remove the one weakness in mass cast spells. Um, we have seen in the news where they wanted to do a mass hexing against Trump, against David Kavanaugh, against all these people. They want to do mass spells for this, mass spells for that. And so we get all these people that are doing spells, and usually, I would say, very high percentage of the time, they fail. And a lot of that is because it's not a unified force. So, um, I was thinking about how to fix this problem, and one of the spell lists in my role-playing game I thought had real-world applications, and it was called Spell Webs. Okay, and this was meant to connect wizards from great distances so that they can cast their magic against a common enemy to achieve a common goal. So, the key to this is something else that I did a video about earlier on, and that is penny magic. What we need to do is to create spell coins. We would be doing this by taking a penny, like I suggest, and we would be making it into a talisman. On the primary side, we would use a symbol that represents magic. Now, in a lot of pagan traditions, the pentacle represents magic. Now, I know that other traditions might have a different symbol for magic, but whatever it is, you place this on your head's side, okay? And then on the back side, you need to put the sigil, the rune, whatever you use to symbolize yourself. Now, in the diagram that you see here, I got BSD, which is Blue Sage Dragon. And so I would have to create these. So my network on this spell that I am suggesting for an example would contain 4 other people. And so I would need to create 5 of these coins, 1 for each person and then myself. Now, this is very important. Trust is absolutely needed. You are giving somebody a connection to you. That's the purpose of the coin. And so you need to make sure that you trust that person, because if they can cast spells with you with it, they can also cast spells against you with it. So make sure that you have a well-established spell network that you can depend on. Okay. Now, you would have to send your spell coins to each person. Make sure that you use a very thick envelope. Wrap the coin in felt, something that could kind of protect it from any negativity throughout its travel there. The next step is to create a map. You can see in the diagram here, what you need to do is print off a blank map of the United States in this case, and then you'd put a symbol down, in this case stars, to represent the locations of each person. Then you would take and create a line from each star to every person in the network. Since this spell web is going to have 5 people. Each person should have 4 lines coming from it to connect them with everybody else. This is a visualization tool. We need to create in our head how our energies are connecting. Visualization is important in casting spell work. Everybody would agree with that. So we have our map, we got our coins. Now, the next thing we have to consider before we do anything is time zones. This is what I've always thought was the biggest weakness in these mass spells, because people are not thinking it out. And that is because if you are in a different time zone from other people and you all decide 5:30, then you are having hours staggered in there on the spell, and that will cause spell perversion and the spell will fail. So let's say my friend William in Indianapolis wanted to cast a network spell to take care of somebody. Okay, so he would want us to do the spell as the diagram says here, 8:30 his time. So all people that are in the Eastern time zone would have to do it at 8:30. I live in Iowa. That's Central time zone. So I would have to do it at 7:30. Now, Sabora, who lives in Reno, and Nisha, that lives in Los Angeles, now that's Pacific time zone. And so they would have to do it at 5:30. This is a way so that we can sync it at real time together. And again, that's just what I think is one of the major faults as well with mass spells over great distances. So we got that figured out. We got the map, we got the coins. Now you would set up your sacred space, your ritual area, just like normal. Okay, that part doesn't change. But before you cast the desired spell, you need to cast a network spell. And I have a basic idea here. And so here's how it would go. I get my altars together. I would have the map out. I would place the coins, each coin, at the respective location on the map. So I would put William's coin on his little star in Indiana. I'd have mine in Iowa. May's would be in Detroit. Nisha's would be in Los Angeles. And Zabora's, of course, in Reno. So there I got my visualizations. I have something from every person there connecting on that map and on my altar. So this will be working as the connectors, the circuitry. And I would start by incantation. I, Blue Sage Dragon in Adel, Iowa, seek to network my energy with Zabora in Reno, Nevada, William in Indianapolis, Indiana. Okay, make sure that you state the city and the state, because some names are very popular. So the name of a city can be a name of a city in 4 or 5 different states. Magic is fickle. And while we have our map that helps it, we need to add details to it. All right. So continuing on, we would be going, we have the same goals and the same intent. So connect us now as a force of one. Now, in many traditions, we would recite that 3 times. Now, depending on your tradition, you repeat it once, repeat it twice, or 3 times, however the case may be. Now, when we write this incantation, we all have to say the same incantation. So this has to be a mutually agreed upon generally, what I would suggest is the person needing the spell network be the one that write the incantation and put any notes on it, whatever's needed, such as repeat this section 3 times. Okay. So we've read that 3 times. We've given the locations. We are visualizing it. We are building the energy for our network with our visualization. And then we would, of course, end it. That is what I wish. That is the way it shall be. For I am Blue Sage Dragon, so mote it be. There, we have created the spell network. Now, take a moment and let the energy manifest and sent out. Because we have little variations in our clocks, it is suggested that you give a minute or two because everybody finishes spells quicker or slower. Nobody is going to be able to do the spell in the same exact time. All right, so there we go. We got our network spell done. Now we can do the intended spell. Again, I think that this should be written by the person asking for the network spell. And so in this case, William would be writing a spell. He would email it to us, and we would perform that ritual, that incantation at our sacred space. And we would then have the same intent, which would match up our energies, and we can send them out as a force of 1. And then once that second spell done, the main intended spell is done, you can do as you usually do to when you're ending a ritual, closing the circle, such and so forth. So that is my idea on how to build a witch network or a spell network. This would be a great way, I believe, to get better effects on our spells, because by working as a force of 1, our energies would be combined, which would mean that we would have a greater area of effect or intensity of effect against a common goal. Whereas we would have a little bit more problems if we were to be 5 different smaller energies. Okay, it is simply a tactic that's important that needs to be applied to magical usage as well. So I hope you guys liked the video. Please put your comments below. So everybody take care. Be at peace.